Hello, all. My name is Erta the Wanderer, and I've come out of the jungle today to talk with one of our most esteemed generals, the Great Lizard Wizard. How are we doing, Wizard?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Hmm. The portents do not look kindly on us. Bellicor has risen, and it's an unfortunate situation for pretty much everyone involved.
His model is beautiful. I'm
Oh, it
literally holding
is.
it right now.
It's such a pretty model. But,
It's yeah. Oh,
yep. And in general, if you play Chaos, you are going to enjoy this book quite a bit.
yeah. There's a lot of good stuff.
Eh, there's a lot of fun rules, some not so fun lore, unfortunately.
I just finished reading the Lumineth Realm Lords lore for
Mm-hmm.
their book, and I've read the first like 3 pages of lore for this book, and that's it.
Yeah, I did a deep dive, not into this, but every single lore piece in our history,
hmm
specifically because I something came to mind after reading this that I had to check, but we'll
hmm
get into that. So, this book opens up with Bellicor destroying one of our Oracle engines. It's essentially a giant crystal ball
Oh,
that lets us see the future.
okay.
The Slan are having a conversation. We actually see from the point of view of our Slan, which is great. This has only happened one other time in all of Warhammer history where we saw things from a lizardman's perspective, and that was in our
Hmm.
first battle tome
hmm
in AOS. But and so it's interesting to see how they did it and this kind of detached perspective. They essentially summarize everything that's happened up to this point in Broken Realms, and then they decide to go after Eater of Tomes. Now, Eater of Tomes is one of Archeon's 9 Gaunt summoners.
hmm
Specifically, the Slan want him gone because he's attempting to do two things. First, he is attempting to make a method to trap Stormcast souls so that they can't go ride the lightning back and get reborn.
Hmm.
Second, he is making a substance called what's it called?
Veronite.
Veronite, which he wants to use to destroy gates, specifically the Evergate that is keeping the Chaos forces out of Azir. And these are the two reasons we're going after him. He's about to cause really big problems, and we're not the only ones. Stormcast are going after him for this reason. Marathi was pretending to go after him for this reason. Lumineth Realm Lords were in the general area because of this reason. These two reasons, remember them, are why we're trying to stop him. So, it starts off, we see the Iron Host Stormcast group fighting at the Genesis Gate. This is a gate opened up by them in order to invade the 8 points. They're fighting a big army of Nurgle who is trying to take the gate from them, and they're not doing terribly well. While this is happening, a Dracothian tail army drops nearby. We can't drop in the 8 points because of chaos corruption. Our teleportation does not work, and so we have to start outside and walk in. Remember
Hmm.
this. This is important. So instead of helping our allies, we just walk right past them. Right? We have bigger things that need accomplishing. This is a small potatoes fight. There are more important things to do. I really like this. I like the
hmm
fact that Seraphon are the over have the big plan in mind, and that they don't let emotion and sentimentality get in the way of accomplishing the goal that's really important.
hmm
The Stormcast are definitely not happy about this. They don't like it at all. And in fact, the new hero, Ironheart,
hmm
is particularly displeased. And
He's an awesome hero, by the way.
he
He's from
is.
Joss
He's so
Riddle's
cool.
books.
He's so cool, and his model is great. I should have prepped a picture for him. Oh well. But yeah. And so it skips over most of our trip through the Chaos Wastes because uh,
That's boring.
it was already covered in past Broken Realms books,
Yeah.
and on top of that, it does make note that like our presence drives chaos back. When our feet fall, we purify the land, but it corrupts behind us. So we have this little moving island of non chaos area in the Eight Peaks around us, and it protects
Oh, that's
us
cool.
from a lot of things. Yes, it continues on the fact that Starborn have a natural counter to chaos, and it's cool to see that still a thing after we're no longer memories and no longer made out of starlight.
Hmm.
Then we lay siege. We lay siege to the Silver Tower where Eater of Tomes is, and battle's going okay. We're winning in the sky. We're holding even on the ground. And this is all told from Eater of Tomes' perspective as he looks out on the battle. And after a while, he sees it's not going terribly well for him, and so he just says, nope, and just ports out of there. He can
Yeah,
teleport
it
his
takes your time.
tower at will, and he goes off into the void. The area between the realms where the Seraphon live and
Hmm.
where all the stars are, where Dracothian is from. He just ports
Hmm.
out of there, says, nope, bye, and manages to teleport right into the middle of a temple ship armada that was waiting for him. And we actually get a space battle. A space
Oh, that's
battle.
awesome.
Yes, it is pretty cool. Yep. The we get to see boarding actions. The temple ships are using sun crystal cannons to just blow this silver tower to pieces until we manage to shoot it out of the sky, and it lands in Shaman. He does an emergency landing, smacks down in Shaman, and is again ambushed, this time by a major, huge Thunderquake army, primarily Bastildons. Just all set and ready for him, that again begin pummeling his tower. We managed to kill him. We not only kill him, but erase him, which is important because demons normally can't die.
Hmm.
This it takes him out of a running. It's a cool scene, and then the tower explodes, killing the Thunderquake army in its entirety and a whole bunch of Chayman. And this is where things start going downhill very quickly, and destroying every gate tied to the tower in Chayman.
Oh,
Not just destroying them, making them direct portals into the warp, which begins to flood the entirety of Chayman with a warp storm, which, as we have found out before, blocks teleportation, makes demons able to spawn and maintain themselves at will, and and is spreading from Chayman to the other realms. It also stops Stormcast from riding the lightning and being reborn. Oops.
so we saved Azir, but
No,
damn
we didn't
Shaman.
even do that because Bellicor realizes he can use this method to destroy the Evergates. And in fact, us doing this gave him the ability to do so. So not only did we completely fail at our mission, we did it better than Eater of Tomes could have possibly done.
Gotcha.
Yep, and thrown in here and there, we see Croaks. This was all instigated by Bellicor. He gave us the location of the Silver Tower so we'd go for it. Croak saw what was happening but thought it was worth it, apparently, and it just makes him look like a moron.
Hmm.
Now, a lot of people when I talk about this, say it's not all that bad. And granted, I was never expecting to win in a book called Bellicor. I was hoping we would lose a little more gracefully than accomplishing the opponent's goals for them.
Hmm.
And it's worse than I've even made it out so far because this Chaos Storm has cut the KO completely off from their Aether mines. So
Oh.
they are now working on emergency rations of whatever they have with them until they can retake them. And so we crippled one of our allies. Then, because of this, the main capital of Chayman falls, destroying one of the Grand Legions of the Stormcast entirety, killing
Oh.
killing a named hero, and decimating two other of the storm hosts to the point where they are completely combat ineffectual. All our fault. This is spreading. This is the new Necroquake. It's spreading to all the realms, so it doesn't stop just at Shaman. We lost the Thunderquake army. Oh right, remember that Stormcast army that's guarding the Genesis Gate? Croak told them to go defend the capital, which they lose and die at, and we lose the Genesis Gate, which means that Dracothian Tail army that we sent in can't teleport or get out in any way and is now dead. Also, Shaman is dying, which means that the Thunderquake army is dying, so we're losing a sub-faction. Like, probably not rules-wise, but as far as the lore goes, they are holding off an endless demon army until we can fix this problem. If we fix this problem.
Oh, that's the entirety of the Thunder Lizards are there?
Huh? Like,
The
Thunder Lizards are based out of Shaman. Not all of them, but
Yeah,
that's where
yeah,
they
yeah.
live.
Yeah, that's their major
We
hub.
just wiped out a huge army of theirs by self-destructing super tower. No, actually, sorry, we blew it up and then killed ourselves, and then killed ourselves, and then killed our allies, and then killed our allies, and then accomplished the enemy's goal for them. So I am really not happy with this lore.
Hmm.
It is. It's painful to see how badly Seraphon always do in everything lore related. I I went back through every single piece of Seraphon lore we have, and we've never actually won a fight.
No, first Seraphim Battle Tome,
I know.
where we
I will get to that because that is the one example. Except that Legion of Seraphon was led by Zaltu Plakton, the Slan, and in the second battle tome, it tells us in detail how they get completely destroyed in that conflict at a later date,
yeah,
including the
yeah,
death of the Slan and everyone involved.
yeah,
Yep, and our new battle tome doesn't have anything even resembling victory, and in fact has three major failures in it, which is weird because the battle tome is supposed to be when we do well.
yes.
So, a bit more than a bit sad and despondent about this. I'm tired of seeing my boys do so poorly. But yeah,
Yeah, that's fair.
yep, that's a general rundown of the Seraphon part of this book. We managed to help the enemy kill two of our big armies, kill three of our friends' big armies, and completely cripple a third one. All according to plan, according to Croak. Oh, right, and kill ninth of the Aether Matrix because it's now completely chaos corrupted, and we weakening ourselves significantly. It's just bad.
Yeah,
A couple highlights though.
blow up a silver
Apparently,
tower
yes, we blew up the Silver Tower, one of 9. We can't
and killed
afford
one
to
of
keep
9
doing
gun
that because we only have so many realms to sacrifice to do that, and Gaunt Summoners aren't even the worst part of Chaos.
No, but they
But
are what give Archeon a lot of his power.
yes, yep. But in the same way, the Aether Matrix is what gives us our power, and we lost more of it than he lost of his.
Yep.
Also, the White Dwarf might be coming back.
Oh,
It
interesting.
is heavily implied that he's currently working as a cogsmith in the KO armies.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about that.
But yeah, great day for Chaos, not for Seraphon. And I'm a Seraphon player.
That's fair, yeah.
Oh yeah. With that covered, just oh well. We can move on to rules. Also, somewhere that Seraphon do not do particularly well this book.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, it's not as bad as I thought it was at first, but it's also still not good. It's just okay.
Yeah, the battalion, primarily from what I see, everyone's happy that it grants second. Sorry. Primal War Beast.
Yeah, getting a free command trait's cool because now you still take a skink priest to give Master of Star Rituals to make your Bastiladana 3 to hit.
Mm.
Like you can still do that and get Primal War Beast, so
Yeah,
that's cool.
I keep hearing people theorize that they might be able to take it twice. I have a feeling that's going to get errated so that you can't double up.
Oh, interesting.
But who knows? It's GW. They might just be inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mortal
Uh,
wounds are beyond nothing.
yeah, just 2 to 3 D3 mortal wounds, depending on how you build your battalion.
And you need to take an engine of the gods to make that work. And it's a
Yeah.
roll, and it's once per battle.
Yep.
No.
And it's in place of getting to shoot. But what the we'll do the battalion a bit more later. Starting out, the new Bellacore. Um,
Yeah. Not
so
a,
old Bella. Oh, go ahead.
not a whole lot changed about him. His main key points are the same. He still has dark machinations.
So there were some decent changes. So he used to be 240 points.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's 380 points.
Oof,
So it's a
that's
140 point increase. He's still a level 2 wizard. Um, he went from I think he was 8 wounds to 14 wounds. So that's a decent step up. Um, he's still got the 4+ save unrendable.
mm-hmm.
However, the Dark Master did change.
It did.
Um, so, and I get why they did this. It was annoying to run at events because you had to carry scratch paper with
Oh,
um,
okay.
because you had to denote
Who
what
it?
unit you picked at the start of the battle, and then
Right.
when you revealed it was when it happened. Now the bonus was Bellacore just had to be included in your army. Like if he was dead, it did not matter; it still went off. So that meant that there was no risk at using it later turns in the game. The way it's been reworked now, Bellacore has to be on the table. It's still once per battle. It's still at the start of your opponent's hero phase. Um, they changed the phrasing. It used to be your opponent had to roll a 5 or a 6 each time that unit tried to do something until the next hero phase.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's you roll a dice, and on a 3 up, they don't get to. Um, that's fine. Like that doesn't really matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
Changing that side of things, um, but it means against Alpha Strike armies, you have to use this early. Um,
Right. Do you have to
so
pick your unit at the beginning of battle like you used to?
no,
Which
you
is
no longer have to pick at the beginning.
that's
So
much
that's
better.
the yeah, that's the bonus you get. But the downside is he has to be on the table. So if I like the main reason you bring Bellacore is this ability.
Mm-hmm.
So paying 140 extra points for what I feel is essentially a nerf to that ability. Um, and granted, this is much more user friendly.
Right.
Like it is easy. You don't have to be nearly as predictive. Um, but I found that I was always fairly effective with it. So I never felt like I mispredicted the unit I needed to target.
Granted,
So
but
at
you're also
least for
you,
me,
wizard.
yeah, and I'm familiar with the game. I'm familiar with Slaves to Darkness and how I was running it. I always knew what I needed to target. Um, but it did make it a bit more user friendly. So I agree with all the choices they made. But basically, you're paying 140 extra points for a weaker version of the Dark Master, um, and more health and more damage. Like he basically doubled the amount of damage he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he lost some toughness because he no longer gets lookout, sir. He's too many wounds.
True, but
Uh,
can't his doesn't his army help a lot with that?
yes, his specific legion, but if you're just taking him in Slaves to Darkness, he got worse because you also can't put him on Bellwind Vortex anymore.
Because he's
Uh,
too fat.
yeah, you used to be able to throw him on Bellwind Vortex, which didn't modify your save, but it increased the range of your spells. And Slaves to Darkness has a lot of really short range spells. Um, so I don't know. Like overall, um, I think the other one was more competitive, but I still really like this one. Like he's still going to be in the majority of my Slaves to Darkness list,
Uh huh.
and I'm totally going to run his Legion. Like this is going to be the fluff army that I play when I just want to play for fun. Like, I don't know that I would take this to tournament. I think it's tournament viable.
Hmm.
Um, but it's like, it's a,
It's not the best thing out there
yeah, it's real vulnerable to shooting, which is not a good army to take to events and have fun with.
because shooting's so prevalent. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see
yeah,
if that changes with all of these rumors about 3.0, but that's for the
yeah.
future.
So the new Legion that you get, this replaces the Wrath of the Everchosen Legion of the First Prince. This is
Hmm.
now the Legion of the First Prince, and it's pretty awesome. Um, the first is a bit hard to use. It's a first stemmed prince. Be'lakor can reroll hit rolls if he's within 18 inches of one friendly unit of Bloodletters, Horrors, Tzeentch, Plaguebearers, Demonettes. The wording makes it sound like he has to be within 18 inches of all five. I don't know if that's what they intended. It might have only been at
That would be
least
really
one,
weird if it was true.
but the way it's worded, I'm going to read it exactly. You can reroll hit rolls for attacks made by Be'lakor while he's within 18 inches of at least one friendly unit from each of the following War Scrolls: Bloodletters, Horrors of Tzeentch, Plague Bearers, Demonettes.
Oh,
Because it says each,
yeah,
he
that
has to
that
be.
becomes a lot less useful.
Yep. So I don't even ever see that going off. Why would I ever build a list around that? Um,
I mean, it's a thematic list type thing where he's supposed to just be. He's an undevoted character. He's got
oh,
all,
for sure. Yep.
and he's heavily focused on demons. Problem is, at the moment, for the most part, demons are kind of crap.
They're so expensive. Like, how do you fit that in? And
Yeah,
like, you're in order to keep him within 18 inches of all of those, you're like drastically limiting where you can be on the table.
and
It's
making
just
this
not worth it.
chaotic maelstrom of demons that are, except for Nurgle,
Yeah,
because this book is kind to Nurgle, kind of meh.
and you're only adding like 2 damage to get this to happen. Like
Hmm.
rerolling his attacks is going to net you 2 to 4 damage. So I don't know, that part's not great. But the great part is, in addition, whenever you allocate wounds to Be'lakor, instead you can pick a friendly unit within 9 inches of him.
Hmm.
And this is huge. It's just within nine, not wholly within, nine. So it's a huge range. Of any of those I just named, you can roll a dice, and on a 4+, they take the wound. So that makes Be'lakor
It
very
essentially
tanky.
doubles his wounds, makes him 28,
Uh huh.
and could spike higher, could spike lower, but dang boy, he thick.
Yep. And you got to remember that he's already got a 4+ save that cannot be modified.
It is
So he's already stopping half the attacks that come at him. Now he's passing off half damage as well.
Yeah, it makes him effective wounds to 56.
Yep.
Not
And
horrifying, but still very good.
because he's part of Infernal Realm Walkers, he ends up with a 6+ save after save. Like, that's the other
Oh,
rule that the Legion gets.
okay.
Like, everything in the Legion gets a 6+ save after save.
I
Um,
thought a lot of demons already had that.
yeah, so like it doesn't really help Plague Bearers because they've got the 5+.
Uh huh.
Um, but it does help with, like, it's not as common as it was.
Right.
Um, so yeah, like it's good. Um, it's not as useful on Nurgle, but I still think Plague Bearers are what you want to spam with this army, in my
Right.
honest opinion.
With Teclis's additions, it's really useful.
Yeah, exactly. You just bring Spoilpox Scrivenger and have like two big blobs of Plague Bearers and a big blob of Pink Horrors in Be'lakor, and then fill with whatever utility demons you want,
Hmm.
and that's a pretty solid list. Um,
And then bring a life swarm just so you can screw with your opponent,
yeah,
make him
yep.
even more
So,
tanky.
well, and here's the other awesome thing: they just get basically Nurgle's menagerie. Like,
Really?
if Bellacor's your general, you pick any of those units plus furies, uh, and you roll a dice for each of those units. On a 3+, return D3 slain models to that unit. For
Wow.
horrors, they were smart and knew how broken it was going to be. You just straight up get one back,
Okay.
not D3.
That's
Um,
still really good because you're getting 5 wounds back each time.
yeah, like that's why I would spam Plague Bearers and Pink Horrors, because Plague Bearers have a 5+ save after save.
That
They're
makes his
negative.
army.
-2 to be hit with shooting, negative
Yeah,
1 to be hit with attacks. Like,
yeah, that makes this army incredibly tanky.
yeah. So this Saturday, I'm actually going to try and test out 60 plague bearers, 20 pink horrors, Bellacore, a spoil pox scrivenger, and then just some other stuff. Um,
Throw in a Slobody because his name's awesome.
yeah, I might bring a Gaunt Summoner of Zinch actually.
Yeah, fair enough.
Um, and then they still have the same summoning mechanic. You pick a demon uh, hero, you roll 3d6 on a 10 plus. You can summon either 10 bloodletters, 5 horrors, 10 plague bearers, 10 demonettes to the battlefield based on the type of demon that used the ability. Bellacore can choose any of them,
Wait a
or he
minute.
can do.
Did it say 10 horrors?
No, it's 5.
Okay,
It's
good.
been fixed.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah. I
they
was I
didn't
was worried for a
undo
second
the
there.
FAQ. If they undid the FAQ, oof. Um, then I would be taking this to tournaments. uh, and then he can also choose Furies if it's Bellacore. And then if you roll doubles on that roll, you take a mortal wound. If you roll triples, you take D3 mortal wounds.
Mm.
That's all the same. Like the summoning didn't change. It's exactly how it was FAQ. Um, but yeah, it's a pretty solid Legion. Um, I
Yeah,
like it. I'm definitely going to play around with it. Um,
it's
it's
very
probably going to be my
thematic.
go-to casual.
It's very thematic, lore friendly, and pretty cool, and good on top
Mm-hmm.
of that, which never happens. Good lord.
Yeah, I would say this is at least a solid B tier.
Mm-hmm.
If the meta moves, if the meta moves just a little bit away from shooting, it's amazing. And even then, like because it is a shooting meta, if you're running 2 max size units of plague bearers, you're -2 to hit with shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the 5+ save after save, um, like and you're bringing back D3, um, a good chunk of the time on a 3+ at least. Uh, that becomes really tanky. So
Uh-huh.
those alpha strikes, like they're not going to deal enough damage to break you, um, and then you're going to slowly build back up. Like I think it can definitely win the grind fight. I just don't like playing armies at events that win the game in turn 5 because I don't like having to finish a game. Like sometimes you just get slow played, and
Right.
it's just not something I want to bring to an event. I think it's perfectly competitive. Um, I just don't want to carry that many models and have to rely on always going to turn 4, turn 5 to win.
Now the big
Um,
question, especially with the Slanesh thing, does Bellacore
mhm.
have the Demon Prince keyword?
Bellacore has Chaos, Demon, Demon Prince,
There we go.
Slaves to Darkness, Undivided Hero, Wizard, Monster, Bellacore.
Okay, I was worried they did another Sigvald, which means
Yeah.
he can be taken in the Demon Prince subfaction and just meld
Yes,
with
the
scenery
Despoilers. Yep.
and just meld in and out of scenery and do so well. I
Yes. Yeah.
that's actually one of the main reasons I didn't like that so much with Sigvald because that would have actually made him pretty good. It would
Yeah,
have
I would be running Sigvald and Despoilers if he had the Demon Prince keyword.
right because his main problem is that he's fragile and
Yep.
not really very good at killing people. But if
Well,
you
I mean, you
could
bring
protect
Lurid
him,
Haze.
yeah, if you could protect him to the point where he can actually sink himself in to
Oh, yeah.
or like flank someone, then he might be useful. It's
Yep.
just yeah,
Well, and like,
unfortunately, good-looking
uh,
models can't be good.
yeah.
Even Bellicor here,
Uh,
he's worse than he was. Even if he's not bad.
he is much more killy. Um, and because you can pass off wounds, if you're running this battalion, I would say the new Bellacore is better.
Mm,
Granted, that's not a feature of new Bellacore, that's a feature of new battalion.
right.
Um, but if I were just running like my other Slaves to Darkness list, I would rather spend only 240 points to get what I want out of them instead of now having to pay 380. Um, that being said, I'm still happy because the model's pretty and I don't care that it got worse. That's how
Mm,
pretty the model is. Um, like I don't feel cheated. It's just if you're trying to like min max your competitive list,
little less
he got
ability there.
he got he got weaker. Like
Yep.
he did get more damagey. Like in terms of paying points for how much damage you get out of him, that was a bargain. Like he
Okay.
only went up 140 points. That's a 50% increase,
And doubled, possibly
uh,
more if
and
cost.
potentially doubled his damage. Yeah. Um, so
And
that's big.
more than doubled his durability. So yeah.
Yeah. Um, Granted, now he's a monster, so he does deteriorate. Whereas he did not before. He didn't have a behemoth table.
Yeah, this makes me concerned for when Croak gets his War Scroll.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Yep.
Maybe he'll have
Um,
ability catastrophic plans where you lose the game instantly for a 1 in 6 chance to win the next one.
um,
Yep, still salty. Moving on.
yep. Their Legion specific spell is kind of cool. It's cast on a 7. You have to pick a Legion Demon Prince unit wholly within 12 of the caster. That's kind of shitty, but I get it. It slaves to darkness. All of our spells are crazy short range. But until the end of the battle round, if a model from this unit is slain by an attack with a melee weapon, it can fight before it's removed from play.
Okay.
Um, so that's actually not bad on a blob of plague bearers with a scrivenger behind them,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because you let them get hit, they get to swing. You move up the next rank, they swing. Um, like it's a spell that I'll definitely use,
Yeah, it's what makes Skaven so scary back in the day. And it's
but you lose access to your other spells.
yeah, and you've got a good chunk of good ones. So I
Exactly,
keep
and
forgetting other factions have spells.
yeah. So I don't know. Like the spell list is the main thing that's a disappointment to me from the Legion from the First Prince.
Mm-hmm.
The command traits and artifacts are all decent, but if you're playing this, Be'lakor should be your general because you want to heal units.
Right.
Like that's the whole reason to run this is to return lesser demons to your lesser demon units. Like you can give +1 to the summoning roll for your general if you take a command trait. You can add what this one's huge. Like if you decide to go like bloodletters and um, horrors, the ruinous aura command trait lets you add 1 to the infernal realm walkers. That's the 6+ save after save.
Oh,
So then it becomes a 5+ save after save for everyone wholly within 8 of the general.
so
That
everyone's
is
as
big.
durable as our good rot guts.
Yeah, exactly.
Plague bearers,
So
that's
you
what they're
bring
called.
like now you can take a Gaunt Summoner, make him your general, put Ruinous Aura on him, and keep him near Horrors of Zinch, and they've got a 5+ save after save. That is really tanky.
Mm-hmm.
If you're wanting to run horror spam, I think that's better than returning one model. Um,
Yeah.
like that,
Let's see.
yeah.
If we're talking group of 100, that's buh, 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 buh. On average about 15 wounds saved. You'd have
Hmm.
to heal three times in order to be better.
Yep.
4 times in order to be better than that.
Yeah. So I mean, just because of that, like, I think if I were going to do horror spam with this Legion, I would do that. And then obviously, if you do that, the armor you want to take is reroll save rolls
Mm-hmm.
for the bearer, and you put that on the Gaunt Summoner. Um, they've got a -1 bravery. They've got a 5+ on a hit with a weapon, do D3 mortal wounds. Like the fact that it's a 5+, um, like that's pretty consistent. Like you put that on a Demon Prince, or you put that on some of the Slanesh demons that have a higher number of attacks. And now you're going to be dealing at least D3, maybe 2 D3 mortal wounds. So like their artifacts, their command traits, they're all pretty solid. The spell, whatever. But in general, like it's the strongest of the new things from this book.
Not hard to be perfectly honest. How how well does Bellicor play with like other greater demons and such? Does he share power?
So because he takes up so few points, things slot in pretty well. Like I've built several lists where I'm bringing like a Lord of Change and some other stuff. Um, Having the flexibility with summoning helps a lot. And all of a sudden, if you bring any other larger demon like a Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage or something, you have a pretty good idea what your opponent's going to go after. Because if they have to choose between trying to kill Be'lakor, who has a
Mm.
Blade of Wounds, or killing something else that doesn't have a Blade of Wounds, like, I don't know. There's a lot of information play that you can get out of having other greater demons. So it's definitely something that I would look at doing.
Mm.
Um, my one complaint is that he's a behemoth, and
Yeah.
so you can't bring him and four greater demons for each of the chaos gods.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and they didn't give any battalions for Legion of the First Prince.
Okay.
Um,
So
so it
it's
actually
get what you
lost
get.
battalions because there were battalions in Wrath of the Everchosen, and
Uh,
this specifically says it replaces the allegiance abilities from Wrath of the Everchosen. So those battalions aren't battalions anymore.
I'm sure you're going to get them back. GW likes chaos, and it'll probably just errata, so you can do that.
Yeah. So because we lost those battalions, that's pretty sad. I'd like to see some battalions for this legion. Um, but I like it. It's probably like I've been playing a lot of Slaves to Darkness. Like normally Slaves to Darkness is what I play because Seraphon's just not fun for opponents.
Hmm.
And then I save Seraphon for events. So I'm excited to play this army a lot. Like I'm really looking forward to getting to use it.
Fair enough. How do you think Seraphon should counter Be'lakor if we get the option?
Spells. Like
Mainly
you'll just
spells?
kill. Yeah, you'll just kill this army with spells. Um,
I mean, it is all entirely based around hordes, so we have a lot of things that just break those in half.
yeah, exactly. Like we've got Stellar Tempest, which sure it's 1/6 to 1/3 less effective, but they're all one wound models. They're lesser demons. Um, so you're going to be picking up off the table. Um, like the thing that's hardest for us to deal with is plague bearers because
Hmm.
they're -2 to hit with shooting. So kill them with spells and shoot the other stuff. Like
Or
Seraphon does
stab them
so
to
much.
death.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but Seraphon does so much damage in the magic and shooting phase, and they've got no bonuses to casting. Like the only way they end up with bonuses to casting is if like they bring a Lord of Change
Hmm.
or they bring blue scribes. But those bonuses just don't equal out to Croaker or Slant. Like you should be winning the magic phase against them. So especially if you're running like the competitive Dracothian's Tell list that's either dual or single slan with salamanders, like that will just tear this army apart. Like that, I don't know how Legion of the First Prince would be able to beat that, unless they're just a significantly better player. Even for Thunder Lizards, like you do so much shooting, and your Bastiladons now all bump up to 3 damage. Like that 33% increase to damage makes
Actually,
up for the
actually makes
33%
Bastildons
increase
good.
to toughness. Hmm?
It actually makes Bastildons good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it just straight up cancels out the this extra save after save they get. Like, um, and a lot of demons are going to be a 5 or 6 plus save, one wound. So as long as you're not shooting at plague bearers who went above 20 or -2 to hit, um, you're going to tear them apart with your Bastiladon shooting. And then just send your Stegodons into combat with the plague bearers. They'll win that trade. Um,
They do have solid melee.
Yeah, so I don't know. This doesn't seem like this is a problem army for Seraphon to deal with. Um, but it is still an army like you actually have to play smart against because
Hmm.
they're resilient enough that it's not one of the armies we're going to wipe off by turn two. Um, like there's a lot of times where I'm playing Seraphon and like the game's over by the end of turn two, and this shouldn't happen with that army. Like your opponent has to make some big mistakes for that to happen. So I think the biggest weakness or biggest chance for failure against this army is just being overconfident. Like they're going to be sticking around, so you actually have to pay attention to the objectives. You actually have to pay attention to the game because they are durable, but they're not killing enough to deal with the amount of damage we're going to do, in my opinion.
Mm. Fair enough. Now, who else is in this book besides us and our good friend Be'lakor?
So the Emerald Host, this is it used to be a White Dwarf Legion. It was a Legion of Nagash. Then it got FAQ'd to not be a Legion of Nagash,
Hmm.
um, which is too bad because it was cool that you could play around with the graveyards and summoning and bringing back guys. But now it's actually a proper night haunt. Raikonor got a new battalion, which lets him be your general without being your general. Lady Olinder as default can be your general without being your general. So what these two things add up to is that you can have 3 generals in Night Haunt, and that actually bumps Night Haunt up from like
F tier.
to at least B tier, because it means you get 3 teleports.
Mm-hmm.
You can spend a command point to teleport a Night Haunt unit to a Night Haunt general.
Yeah.
So what this means is you can do huge denied flanks and then come up through the underworld and teleport stuff over to you. And like you can take the
You're still,
Dreadblade Harrows.
yeah, you're
Who can
still a
just,
dirty gambler who's desperately going for that charge 10 to charge, but you have more options.
yeah, and like it doesn't matter. Like if you can put all your army against a third of your opponents,
Mm-hmm.
you should be able to win that fight. And this really lets Night Hunt do that. Because their big weakness is that they used to have to try to contest all areas of the table because they would try and just outlast their opponent.
Right.
But now they can be a lot more surgical.
I mean, that's
Um,
like all of Death, to be honest. They have that problem.
yeah, but damage just got so high. Like the battle tome creep, like
Well, not only damage got going high, but also they took away multiple CP purchasing. They all
mhm,
Death is inherently really slow, which isn't a
yep,
great thing if you're trying to be attrition, because you
yep,
have to get in there really early. But
yep.
yeah, Night Hunt kind of fixed that by having fly, but they're still kind of
Yeah,
puddling
fly
along.
and unrendable.
Yeah, like still just plodding
Um,
along.
but I think Night Hunt's kind of a sleeper army now.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have a favorable matchup against KO, and not a lot of people can say that. Um,
Right, because KO is
like,
so Ren dependent.
yeah, they're so Ren dependent, and they're so mobility dependent. And now all of a sudden, you have an army that can stick a bunch of stuff in the underworld. So good luck alpha striking, and they can teleport. They can teleport almost as much as Night Haunt. And if they have the CP farm, or as KO, if they have the CP farm, they can kind of keep up. Um, at least for those first couple turns. So I don't know. I think this was a huge step in the right direction. I don't think it's very user friendly. So I don't
No,
know how much you'll
no, this is
see
one
it
of
at a
those
tournament.
like 4D chess type things because
Uh huh.
keeping foot heroes safe while also being all over the board without their army is hard.
Yep.
Like me,
And they still suffer from getting spells off. Like because the
right?
meta has so many bonuses to casting, like between Seraphon, between Teclis,
Pretty much everyone in the
Nagash,
game can get to +2,
Zeech. Yep. Uh, I mean, even goblins are better casters than them.
and
Uh,
goblins have problems with casting.
yep, exactly. So that is still a huge problem for Night Haunt. That hasn't been fixed. Um, but now that you can bring Raikonor and make him your general, like I don't know, you can do the candle stuff. Some of the spells that you want to get off, you can make sure that you have a good chance at getting off. Um, but I don't think like it's good. Everything they did for this battalion, for the faction in general, the Emerald Host, it's all good. I don't know how often Battle Shock is going to be a big like. It helps them against armies that they're already on even toes with. For a bunch of the sub faction roles, but getting to have 3 generals, um, it's something where like I wouldn't be
It's
surprised to see
something they
some top
badly
players.
needed.
Yep. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some top players bring this just to flex. Like if they've already got their ITC points and they're just like, watch me win with a bad army. Um, because
Or
it can,
not as bad though anymore.
yeah, no, definitely all solid improvements. Like they're no longer one of the worst armies. They're now one of the middle armies.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Hmm. Did Stormcast get anything outside of their new hero in this one?
Um, so
I'm gonna be honest. I got distracted from the rules a bit.
there's the Zinch Battalion. There's the no, I think it's just the hero. Yeah, it's just Garda Steel Soul,
Hmm.
who's awesome, by the way.
I know.
Like, read Josh Reynolds' books. He's like only the faithful. That I don't know. I really like this guy.
He is really
Th-
cool. This book doesn't treat him as terribly well, but he still does. He's still all right.
Yep. My only complaint is that a friend pointed out that it looks like he just farted really hard. And I can't get that out of my head.
Oh no.
Like, instead of superhero landing, it's just like, yep. And so
Just
that's
bad
just in
Chinese
my
food.
head now. Yep. Yep.
And now
Just
it's in
blowing
all
his
of
cape up.
your heads, Stormcast
Yep.
players. Mwahaha.
You're welcome. He's great though. Like, he has a just better Celestant, Lord Celestant command trait. Uh, he gets a 5+ save against mortal wounds and a 6+ save to hallowed knights that are within 12 of them. Um, yeah, like, he's good. Um,
Oh, yeah, that's great. Stormcast
yep,
really desperately needs +1s to hit.
yep. And he gives bonuses to charge rolls um, for hallowed knights models. So, like, he's good. Like,
I mean,
basically, you can play hallowed knights
heck,
and not be like,
yeah.
oh, but now I don't get Gavriel Shoreheart. Like, he kind of is like half Gavriel Shoreheart, half Lord Celestin. Um,
Like, yeah. Like, this actually makes Liberators not awful.
yep.
Because you can technically buff a whole bunch of people with this ability.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and like, I already liked Liberators with the new Wrath of the Everchosen,
Right.
Stormkeep, because like 2+ save Liberators, that's a lot to kill.
That's pretty solid.
Um,
But this actually
so
means
I'm
they can do more than just stand there and get punched.
yes, this adds a decent amount of damage to them. Um, so yeah, I like him a lot. The new Grimwrath Berserker, the rework just makes him better at doing the like fighty interrupt type things.
Mm.
The Doomseeker is kind of cool. Um, there's nothing super major for the other things. The KO stuff that they added was kind of whatever. They've got new triumphs that you can take. That's huge, actually.
Mm.
They got 3 new triumphs that you can use with Aether Gold. Um, so that's all cool. Like, they're solid. You're definitely gonna encounter them. Um, so yeah, I like it. But it doesn't. It's not gonna fundamentally change the way KO plays. Like, it's still pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think that covers pretty much everything.
Yes. Their Zinch, their battalion's actually pretty solid. And Zinch is one
Will
of
they
the
take
armies that
it
we actually.
over Change Host?
So they might.
Really?
Um,
They'll take it over free teleports. That's impressive.
so here's why. You get to add +2 to casting to the hero.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah.
That gives them a
So
chance against us.
exactly, depending on matchups, you could see this. Because Zinch is already pretty quick. So the only reason you really need the teleport is if you're running Duplicitous Host.
Mm-hmm.
If you're running Flamer Spam, I could see people wanting this. Or if you're running Pink Horrors not in Duplicitous Host, if you're doing one of the other or sub hosts, I could see it. But it's just a Herald on Burning Chariot, and then 3 units of Horrors in any combination. Which is another reason you might see this, because in order to run Change Host, you can only take 1 max-sized units of Horrors, like, just because everything's so expensive.
Mm.
So if you're wanting to do Horror spam, like, this is a much easier battalion limit to meet now that the points were increased. It lets you add 1 to the attack characteristics of melee weapons, whatever. Um, and then it adds the Opus Infernum, the Zinch Herald on Chariot. He gets to add, or he gets to know Zinch's Firestorm spell in addition to any others he knows, and then he's just +2 whenever he's casting. So yeah, you could definitely see this. Like, now you can bring 60 pink horrors again. Yep. So I don't know. Like, if you're just going for unkillable, it might be better than Change Host. because +2 to casting uh, basically means Lord of Change isn't mandatory anymore,
Right. Okay.
and you can hide him.
So it
Um,
it expands your options.
yeah, so like I think it's something you will see. I don't know if it's something you'll see as much because who wants to play 60 pink horrors? That's a nightmare. Um, like for
Yeah.
either opponent, like
We were
it's so
talking
many models.
we were talking movement trays earlier today, so
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, it's a great book. I like Bellacore. Out of all the Broken Realm books, I've liked it the most, having not read the lore yet.
mhm. Yeah, I mm, waiting 2 years just to get punched in the teeth is always fun, and it seems to be all we ever get.
Yeah, it feels like they just don't know what to do with us for lore.
Right,
Um,
and man, we can't
we
even.
we've kind of got Superman syndrome though. Like they wrote us to be so powerful that we can't really show up because for a lot of problems we'll just straight up solve them.
But
So then
we
they have
never.
us show up.
That when they have a show up, a slan dies, and then we get yeeted out of there.
Yep,
I'm not kidding.
exactly.
Like 70% of our appearances are a slan
A
dying.
slan dying. Yep.
It's like, are we powerful? Are we at all useful if every time we show up we just get kicked in the curb?
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to take them seriously when the big opponent to chaos is non existent or completely ineffectual.
So I think the from if like we get into narrative metas, I think our problem is that we're the Lancer. We're there to be the super awesome guy who loses to show you how tough the villain is, so that when
Uh,
Sigmar beats him, you know how good Sigmar is.
but we're not even super awesome because whenever we lose in such catastrophically negative ways that it's more like
Yeah.
we're more like the not even jobbers. What are the like the villainous characters in wrestling that just fail every time?
Oh, that I don't know.
Yeah, it
I'm
because
I'm not a wrestlehead.
I'm not either. Hence why I was asking to see if anyone knew. But like this time we lost bad.
Hmm.
It took two armies, an entire armada, to kill one guy, and when we did, we caused such horrible ramifications that it's essentially we caused the next necroquake, but we're supposed to be smarter than that, and the book says we're smarter than that, and yet we do it anyway.
Hmm.
And that's why I said at the beginning, it's like this is GW trying to make us look cool, and this is what they think we want, and I guess a whole lot of
Yeah.
people are just
So
okay with it.
the constantly having the armies in the right place for where their silver tower ended up, that is cool.
Yeah.
Like having him teleport and like knowing where he's going to teleport to have the armada there,
Hmm.
that's neat. And then having him have to flee to Shaman, and then there's the Thunderquake host, that's cool. But then having that outcome be the outcome kind of devalidates all of that.
Right, that's my whole point. There's a lot of cool in this book that essentially gets knocked completely out. Every time we do something cool, it's just leading up to an even worse ending.
Mm.
Yeah, and this time, and the last time we appeared was in Silver Tower, where an entire battalion of us gets killed by average order soldiers. Yes, you heard me right. Order soldiers. We get killed by our own friends because
Hmm.
Gotrek was feeling crabby that day. Three guys go through an entire battalion, 80 Saurus on their own. One of them isn't even a fighter, he's a blacksmith.
Yeah,
The other is like, shoot, it's a Stormcast, one of
it's
the
the
archer guys,
cries, right?
Liberator,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and a witch
Adjudicator.
elf. So yeah, they take out an entire outpost of us because reasons. And the appearance before that, we push a button. That's the extent of it. We push a button.
Yeah.
I'm just so tired of not ever getting anything because
It wasn't Malign Portents. What was it called? It was the prophecy one where all the heralds came out. Um, something Portents? No, I can't remember. But the book that came out just before second edition has a short story with a skink starseer in it, and that one's pretty cool. Um,
is that the one on the ship where he talks to the Sunblood?
yeah,
That's the one I'm talking about. That entire story boils down to a skink pushes a button.
yeah, but it was still cool.
It was.
Like, I enjoyed that one. Um,
Yeah, it was interesting to finally see anything on us, and at least it isn't us getting being jobbers.
yeah, that's true.
I feel like the avatar of Kane in 40k. We're supposed to be this big scary thing, but we keep getting beaten by things we should stomp.
You were supposed to be this colossal, but yet he gains.
Yep. Oh well. And our battalion is a thing. And our endless spells. Oh, we didn't touch on those.
Oh yeah.
We got bound endless spells. The ones from the
Forbidden power.
Forbidden
Yeah.
Power, which
Their thing.
they're a thing. Two of them your opponent can't use. They were originally predatory, and the others don't get affected by being bound, so you will never take the bound version because the other one's cheaper and does the same thing.
Yep. The only
GW
reason
is lazy as hell.
the only reason you take the bound version of those is one, list tailoring, and you know your opponent's bringing a bunch of endless spells, and you want to do the mystic unbinding, and so you don't want to target your own spells. Or two, the meta shifts to where everyone's bringing a bunch of endless spells, and you want to bring them, and you're planning on having to use mystic unbinding.
With the way GW is treating endless spells, I'm not sure that'll be a thing, but we'll see.
Yeah, it is good that they limited it to 3 endless spells. Like, I was having fun with Endless Spellstorm. Like, I liked bringing 7 endless spells with Seraphon. I get how that wasn't fun for anyone else. Um, but yeah, I'm not expecting endless spells to be the meta again.
No, especially with them actually dropping endless spells. So, yeah, in fact, they keep making bound endless spells that we can't get anymore.
Oh, can you not get the forbidden
I don't think
whatever?
they sell Forbidden Power anymore. I'm not
Oh.
sure. But I was thinking mainly Balewind, but yeah.
Yeah, man, Bellwind's difficult for everyone to get. Like, I have so many friends that are trying to get a hold of Bellwind.
It's that good of a spell, and GW just isn't selling it anymore. Maybe their mold broke or something. But,
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I got it way back in the first book because it was the only way to play Seraphon.
Yes, yeah, you had to put a slan on Bellwind with cogs. Like, you just had to.
There wasn't any other option.
Yep. I have 3 Bellwind Vortexes because I was doing a kit bash that I still haven't finished. Just because of how mandatory they were.
Yeah, you could probably sell them for a good chunk.
Yeah, but I want them.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm gonna do that kit bash.
Oh my, I think that covers everything. Anything else you want to go over?
No, just Bellacor's really pretty. Like, I'm so happy with his new model.
It's fun that they're actually getting good models. Him, the new Croak, that one Sylvaneth hero that they just revealed. It's all going to be fun.
The Saxaflute?
Yeah, the Saxaflute. Nice. We'll see. Yeah. You know what I think they should do for Sylvaneth? I think they should let them use Wanderers again.
Yeah, that would be great.
I mean, it would fix their main problem of having no options.
Yep. Well, that, and maybe they'll actually be able to ally Seraphon now instead of because Seraphon can ally them, but they can't currently.
Yeah, but we don't want to because there's no point. Seraphon allies suck.
I don't know. Bringing like Croak.
What? No. Taking Seraphon as allies is great.
Yeah.
Seraphon allies suck. It's Stormcast, which are overall fairly bad, and Sylvaneth, which are overall fairly bad.
Yeah. I mean, Lord Exorcist, in order to bring Comet, is a thing. You can totally do that. I just don't. And I
Because
own
they're
everything I need to do that. I own the
yeah.
Comet and I own a huge Stormcaster.
And I've seen
And I
someone
still
take
don't use them.
Prime once because that's just for fun.
Uh huh. Yep. I mean, he's basically like an old 3-man unit of Ripperdactyls. Like if you were running Shadow Strike with only 3 Ripperdactyls, that's pretty much what you get out of Celestin Prime.
Hmm.
He will make his charge. He'll do like 6, 7 damage.
I
Yeah,
do think it's really funny that all the gods are taking the field and Sigmar is still just letting him use his hammer.
yeah, yeah.
Oh shoot, that's what's good. They're gonna start 3.0 by getting the next Stormcast book with Sigmar being one of the new model for them.
You think?
I
I don't know if
do.
they're ever going to make a Sigmar God model.
I do. I think they are. They're making all the other gods.
Maybe. I think they'd have to kill Celestin Prime though to do that.
I mean, Celestin Prime isn't a person. He's just Prime using Galmaraz, and so
Yeah,
you can
I
still
so
use both.
my fan theory is that he's Carl Franz.
No, Sigmar's Call of Friends.
Uh
Sigmar's been using his body since the end times.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how Sigmar came back. Is Karl Franz died in the last defense of Reichland, and Sigmar possessed his body.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that would have been. I would like that because Karl Franz was an awesome character, but no, until Sigmar makes his own body and gets out of his parents' basement, that's not going to be a thing. Alrighty. Well, that was generally Broken Realms Be'lakor. Great for Chaos, pretty crappy for us.
Yep.
Let's hope that the next book is more kind. At the very least, it'll be destruction focused, which I don't think any destruction armies have featured in any of the Broken Realms so far. Oh wait, no, the giants got a thing, but no one cares.
Yeah.
They're
Yep.
giants.
Yep.
Alrighty, well then the jungle is calling me home. You all have a
Have a good
wonderful
night.
night.